got that like you, 'cause you got that something that I need if I like.
Alright, this is the 5th time recording this because I keep messing up and tripping over my words. You click this video because you're either subscribed to me or you need to know how to install the Koso DB-03R meter. That was terrible. This little guy. So this is the Koso Dash. It's so tiny, but in reality, let's flip the camera. The screen is pretty much the same as your Grom screen, the readout part anyways. The actual dash itself is just so tiny, so small. So I'm not really going to go through how to install it because, I mean, that's pretty easy. You have to remove the other one, so you'll figure out how to put it on. If not, sell you Grom. We're going to mount it using this beautiful anodized billet aluminum, billet CNC, I don't know what it's called, from the Ruck Shop. So this actually is the same shape as your Grom, as I'm zoomed into my face. Same shape as your Grom Dash. This will actually allow you to use the factory shroud. So when you look at your bike, it looks factory because what comes with the Dash is this bracket. And it looks hideous when you don't have that factory shroud. So we don't want that. We're not using it. Get rid of it. Get out of here, box. We also are going to install this oil temp wiring harness. It doesn't read very accurately, so if you have A-Racer, go with that. But that will allow us to set your warning light, I guess, coolant light. But this is going to go off oil temp. So what I do when I ran this gauge is look at A-Racer, idle your bike, get it up to a temperature where that's the temperature you want to go, oh shit, I need to shut down. Once you do that, look at your Koso Dash, compare the temperature. It's going to be like 60 degrees off. Whatever the Koso Dash says at the temperature at A-Racer is telling you to shut down. Set the Dash warning light to that. Not the A-Racer temp, but whatever the Koso Dash temp says. And then never look at the temperature again and just have an idiot light. So if your temperature gets too high, boom, there's a light. You don't even got to worry about temp. So I'm going to mount the camera. I'm just kind of going to time lapse, throw some Halo music in there. Taking the old Dash off, putting the new Dash on, and then I'll go through all the settings. So let's get to it. So your dash mount, obviously it goes on like this, but it comes, as I drop the screwdriver, it comes with new hardware, nice stainless steel Allen bolts, and this shroud will connect to, or bolt onto these 3 holes. Just fit in like this. This is damaged. He's actually putting a carbon fiber cover over it, so he doesn't care.
There's many other ways to play it. They've come out with remastered editions of it. It's fine on here, but it's 30 FPS. Goes below it. There's some looks dated on here, which makes sense. It's from 2012. But again, see what I'm saying? This is something I want to bring up. I know I mentioned it earlier here. This was supposed to be Nintendo's system. That was in 2012. It was supposed to at the time be next gen, and it wasn't even this weird spot.
So now we're going to mount the actual dash onto the mount. It's going to come with these 2 rubbers that go on these posts, like so. And you're going to find that this is an odd way that it stays. I've had 13,000 miles with it this way, and this has never fallen off. And it's gone off-road, track, everything. And it just, literally the rubber fits in these holes. You might put the rubber in the hole first. I think that's what I'm going to do. So don't take my advice.
Really good game. I actually recommend it. Was I not recording? Or no, I stopped. Please. Recording.
You just push it on.
350. Oh, it's over, dude.
And there we go. That's what it looks like. It looks weird, but it doesn't look weird at the same time. And you think you're not going to be able to see anything, but you can see everything just fine. Now we're going to mount this on the factory mount using these 3 bolts and washers to the same mounts that were on the stock dash. Stock, you leave the rubber mounts in there. It'll fit this perfectly fine.
I can't just edit it in. You can't. I don't want to cut from the stream because I don't want my me in the corner of it. This game is also out for the PS3 360. You can get it on pretty much any platform. So why can't I? I don't want to continue. Is it not going to let me start from the beginning? Or I'm going to have to go and delete the save file? Seriously? There has to be. I've never seen a game in my life that you can't just get.
The hardest one to mount or to screw in is this middle one, because you gotta like balance this bolt up in there with the washer, not hit anything, and get it into the bolt hole and pray. Now we're going to plug in the dash with their adapter. This dash comes in 2 ways, the universal and also plug and play with the Grom and Monkey for 14 to 20, not 22. I probably should have plugged this in before I put the dash on.
It's so goddamn fucking slow. Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Not sure if it's backwards compatible. I'm pretty sure it is. A PC. You can get this anywhere. They've remastered it, war-mastered it. But this came out in 2012 and it was a launch game for the Wii U.
So now, with the wire harness plugged in, we can plug in our dash from the harness, Grom harness, just like that. So on your Koso, you're gonna have the male version of this plug. For whatever reason, mine, I changed it already, but it had the female version on both ends. So I had to cut it off and wire my own connector. So we have this. If that happens to you, just know, how does this go? Yellow and white goes to yellow, black and white goes to green. So this is going to be your oil temp reading. It's not going to be accurate, but we can make it so the light goes on when it's supposed to. We're just going to wire this down, just a pigtail, down to the oil temp sensor, which is on the side of the head cylinder area on the left side. So we're just going to go through here and just zip tie it on the wire harness all the way down.
6-2. Did they really go solos with Darksiders 3? Huh? Imagine we live in a world where that stopped recording again. Luckily, it did not do that. Just get it on the Amiga. It'll run at 4K, 120 FPS. own your farts. Jeremy, you don't just let those grandma farts out of your ass and not just ignore them. Close that down because, oh look, I received a friend request again. I can't say I'm done with the week because I'm going to do a video, not after this, because I actually want to do the Atari VCS, but I want to do a video on emulation on the Wii U. Here. We are about, let's see. About 1 hour and 30 minutes into my stream, I played Darksiders 2.
Alright, now we're gonna set up your dash. This one is used by my other bike, so it's pretty much set up, but I'm gonna go through all the settings. Key it on, make sure you have your bike plugged in because it will die. So to get into the main menu is just hold 2 buttons down. It goes into adjust. So A1 is going to be your speed and Fahrenheit, or temperature. So your left button is going to change to select what you want to change, and your right button is going to change the readings. So right now it's set to obviously miles per hour because we're in the United States. You can push the right button and it goes to kilometers an hour, but we're going to go back to miles per hour. Hit the left button. That's going to go to your temperature. Fahrenheit obviously does Celsius as well. We're going to stick with Fahrenheit. And then you hit that button again and it goes to the blinking. So that when that's blinking, A1, that means you're on the main setting. So now we're going to go to A2, which is the right button. A2 is speed warning. I've never used this. This is if you want this light to light up here if you hit a certain speed. We're going to go to A3. This is your shift light. This is your red shift light. This is the, oh shit, you got to shift. Right now it's at 10,000. We're going to go into edit, so you hit the left button. And you can see the 1 is blinking. You can change this with the right button, obviously, 0, 1, because it only goes to 15,000, I think. And then you hit the left button to get over numbers. You just go all the way across. Once you get to the left side, this is flash. I have that on because this will flash red when you get to 10,000. Now we're back to blinking A3. Hit the right button. A4, this is your warning. Your shift is coming up. I have it set to 93. Flash is on, so it's going to flash yellow once I hit 93,000 RPMs. That's what this bike's set up for. I think the RPM limit is at 10.3, so the delay of you seeing the red light and shifting, obviously, you're pretty good. So now we're going to go to A5. This is your temperature warning. So we're going to hit the right button. So right now, obviously, it's Fahrenheit. This is the temperature reading it's going to get from your oil temp sensor. Now this is way off, completely way off to what, say, if you're running A-Racer. So my advice is run A-Racer or whatever app you're using, hopefully A-Racer. See what 220 Fahrenheit is. That's kind of the oh shit temperature. And then compare it to what your Koso Dash says. So 194 on this bike is 220 in A-Racer. That's when your temp light will show up. That's my advice. That's how I use it anyways. A6 is your tire circumference and gearing. So this is your speed healer. So right now, first it's going to go to tire circumference. So stock Grom wheels are 1534. And I had this on my swap, and I had a 1732 sprocket. I actually ran a 1632, but I bumped the front sprocket up to 17, and it dialed my speedometer to within a half a mile per hour compared to GPS, so that was nice. So start with whatever sprocket you're running, and then adjust accordingly to get to the speed you want to read correctly. This is your RPM signal input setting. So right now I have it at P2. I've never had any issues with it at P2. So I would leave it at P2 or change yours to P2. High count. And now we're gonna go. This is your RPM settings. So this is what your TAC is gonna read. Right now I have it set at 12. We'll go into adjust it here. Right button, obviously. It can go up to 15,000 if that's what you want, and it goes down to 10. So we're gonna leave it at 12 because this bike's revs up to 10.3 or 10.5. And we're gonna go back to there. So this is your fuel gauge reading. I have it set to 270. Resistance, I guess that's how that is worded. I've noticed with this setting, it's a little lower than what your tank is. So I've learned that once it's blinking, I still got a little bit more than a normal Grom would have. So A10 is your clock. It's going to be in military time. Right now it is 13:07. You can see it's rather off. So we will adjust this. It's always going to be military time. I have never actually tried to fix it, and I don't think there's a setting to fix it. What did I say it was? 07? 09 is good enough. So A11 is going to be your screen color and brightness. The owner of this bike owns a BMW, so they're going to leave it at purple because BMW owners are. And brightness obviously is 5.5 is the brightest. 1 is really dim. You get the idea. Leave it at the brightest. Go back to that, and then we're going to go to A12. This is your gear indicator. Your gear indicator learning. So there's on, off, and learn. The way this works is you pretty much start. You get to here. You start at square one, 0 miles per hour. Find an empty parking lot where you can go a long distance, and you'll shift your gears at a very low RPM. It'll tell you when to shift up to your last gear, and then you can switch it off, and that's how it remembers. It's very accurate. I'm actually surprised in how well the gear indicator works on this dash. It's pretty crazy. The instructions will have more detail when you buy this dash on how to do it, but it's fairly simple. The instructions are really good. So 13 is your odometer display. We're going to change this, so right now the odometer reads 15,281 and this bike has 4515, so we're going to change this to what the actual odometer is so you can keep track of your miles. And that is all your settings. So neutral, obviously it's in neutral. Your time is down here. You can change this. You can have it read your battery volts. You can have it read your temperature. What is this? This is your max speed you've gone, the highest temperature you've run. And back to this. This one will change your trip A, trip B, your hour meter. And your odometer. Alright, so I don't know what I did with the last video clip that says, hey, this is the end of the video, so I'm making another one weeks later. So this is the end of the video. I hope the install went well for you. If you need help with it, you know, you can always contact me, email, or if you know me on Facebook, you can find me on there. The settings, like the fuel settings, like I mentioned, I have it set to, I think it was 270. So it gives me like, it's realistically like 10 to 15 more miles than what an actual Grom dash will tell you when you're blinking that you have left. I just never bothered to fix it because I just got used to it. The sprockets, it depends on if you're a fatty tire, tall tire, skinny tire. I mean, you just kind of mess with it until you get your GPS speed to match what your dash speed is when you adjust the sprockets. The tire circumference is for a stock size tire in the back. So 130, 70, 12 is the stock size. If you do 140, you'll have to figure out the formula to figure out the actual circumference of that. And what else? My website's up there, so if you guys want any fancy-dancy adapters for random shit like launch control for A-Racer, AC-DC wiring conversions, or the brake module plug-and-play kit, LED kits, anything like that, I'm slowly adding stuff to that website, so it's a little easier to get orders than try to keep track of Cash App and Venmo and all that junk. And I think that's it for this video. There's nothing else. I am still editing this video as I'm recording this, so I just needed an outro. And that's coming up in like less than 100 days, so that's fun. The Smoky Mountain Small Bore Rally in Tennessee. So if you're going to be there, I just picked up that stretched Grom. Ugh. But I might have 2 Groms there. My swap Grom and that Grom, and they're both going to be yellow. How funny. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Do whatever YouTubers tell people to do. I just do this for fun. But until the next time, later.